What's happening, my friends? Welcome back to the John Lovell Show. I'm joined by my bride today.
Hello.
And we're tackling some of the worst relationship advice we've heard. We looked up an article, however, some of the relationship advice actually sounded pretty good. And so that's a unique thing. You're going to love it. This is going to be a really fun show, but you're also going to get some marriage-saving advice we're going to be coming at you with. So all of it starts now. All right, and welcome back, folks. So who was it in studio? Was it Ben or Heath that found this article?
Ben found this one. Yeah.
I was just in the love and section on Buzzfeed. I don't know how.
Is that a normal thing
In
you
the
do?
love
Because that's
section.
actually quite concerning.
Looking for love in all the wrong places.
Yeah. And
I'm going to tell Liz.
Yep.
so you were on Buzzfeed site and
Yep.
you found what?
Just happened into an article here. People are sharing the worst relationship advice they've ever received. And I started reading some, knowing that John was going to absolutely hate it. And then John liked some of it.
Yikes.
Like it was actually good advice with some of the stuff that we found.
But some of it was trash.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There was definitely some bad advice in there, but we found a few that were good.
Well, we'll find out if
Yeah,
you
we'll
like it
see.
or not.
Well, I was kind of in a mood where I'm like, oh yeah, tell me the thing. 'Cause
Fight
I was
with
ready
me.
to agree with the article of like, yeah, you're right, that's terrible relationship advice. But after hearing, I don't know, one or two, three of them, I'm kind of like, wait, this is good advice. Well, and then
John's all like,
and then I realized, hey, upside down clown world, everything that is good is now
Right.
considered evil.
Yes.
And everything that's evil is good. And what is good wisdom is actually, decried as terrible now. And the bad is actually really good wisdom. And so
That's the world we're living in.
it is. And you haven't heard any of these. I've heard these. So
Bring it on.
Yeah, these are going to be fun.
I've got a leg up. Who's got our very first?
So, okay, we've got 5 of them, but before we do that, let's go ahead and get into our shameless plug.
You went really slow on that one. Usually
Wasn't
it's,
as high.
I changed it up a little bit.
and it wasn't quite as high.
It wasn't as, all I heard was it wasn't
It was
as
like a
good.
love
so
ballad.
I'll do it better next
No,
time.
it's good.
Yeah.
Little Justin Timberlake.
Let's break to it. What do we got
Okay.
today?
Okay, so what we have today is body armor. We've got Hesco, Shot Stop, AR500, and HRT plate carriers and attachments. Build the kit that fits your context. We've got all kinds of mission adaptable attachments and components so you can kit out your plate carrier exactly the way you want it. Number of options, number of price ranges. Check it out, warriorpoetsupplyco.com.
So, hold on. I mean, I'm all about body armor and stuff. I wear it. We just had a room clearing class in Alabama, and dudes were rolling with body armor, and they're right. But relationship advice,
It fits perfect. It fits perfect.
No, it doesn't.
No, sometimes you need extra protection. You do, because love hurts and relationships are hard.
Yikes.
There it is.
Ow.
that is
I'm gonna let this one pass.
Let that
Maybe
roll.
body
Let that
armor,
roll.
shameless plug went better with us than it did. That's
It was pretty good.
Have you been hurt in love? You need body armor.
You need body armor.
Yeah. It's not a bad idea.
if you married the wrong one and she's psychotic, you'll need some body armor.
Hesco plates.
If he's psychotic, let's get that
There
right.
it is. There
All
it
right, I stand corrected. I thought this did not
That's
line
my
up
job.
well. Apparently, it really does. All right,
Perfect alignment. Let's get into this. So we went through the article. There were like 26 different points, something like that. We found 5 of them where it was like, wait, that's actually pretty good advice. The first one is they're saying this is bad advice. True love is unconditional. And the writer says, hey, wrong. My love most definitely comes with conditions, exclamation point. No lying, cheating, gaslighting, no forms of abuse. Do any of those and I walk. And there are circumstances that are bad that are being listed here, but I feel like for a good marriage to work, love, it's got to be unconditional. Yeah. What are y'all's thoughts?
So I certainly don't like the abuse thing,
Right,
and but when it says true love is unconditional, we're gone from just our love. We're in the idyllic, the Platonic sense of true love, altruistic love, the Christian agape, which is the Greek for unconditional, of like all-encompassing kind of love. Of like, no, the pinnacle of love is unconditional. Of like, this one rubbed me the wrong way because I think true love is unconditional in that it is given freely. You didn't receive it because it was deserved or anything else like that. And that's really how, I mean,
Yeah.
It's at the heart of Christian doctrine of while we were sinners, Christ died for us. It's like while we were unworthy, God loved us, not because we were worthy, but to make us worthy. And so if like this one, it was really annoying to me in that it misunderstands of like even marriage. What is marriage? Marriage isn't a contract that says, hey, if you behave this certain way, then I will behave this way as well. If everything's aligned and we're all happy, then we're good. But if I'm unhappy, I'm bouncing. But
She's just stating the obvious. Like, of course you're not going to tolerate abuse, but she's also negating that unconditional is a thing. That's right. You're going to work through problems, bad seasons, bad mistakes, and keep going, right?
Yeah.
You don't just give up, throw in the towel.
yeah, and so I certainly wouldn't be advocating that you stay with someone who is,
Abusive.
cheating on
Right.
you or
Right.
just beating you to a pulp. I'm not advocating that. I'm just like, whoa. I get that there's abuse, but don't pirate that in to undermine the definition of what true ideal love
Right.
is. I'm like, no,
It's
true love
unnecessary.
is unconditional. We may not be able to attain it, but don't change the definition of love and what that really is. Of like, Jesus loved the people that beat him to a pulp, defamed him publicly, tortured him unto death, and hated him. I'm like, nope, that's true love. He loved his abusers unto death.
Yeah.
And so, though I'm not advocating that a woman stay in a physically abusive, beat you to a pulp every night kind of relationship, there is ideal love that still stands removed. And I hope that makes sense. If I don't like that you attacked the very definition, the ideal that we go for.
And
Sounds
had
like
to
the low
define
bar.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a low. See, the issue I have with this is that if that's where you start, look, relationships, like if she gets married someday, there'll be a spot where let's rule out all the second, like all the hardcore things that we're saying are not permissible. Let's say
Right.
all those aren't on the table. There will be a point in her relationship where she feels that the way she feels emotionally or the way he treats her is not worthy of her. And I feel like that'll set her up for failure later when she's in a real relationship that needs that level of that high bar of love. You know, that's my fear with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's always good to go in for safety, right? Like you don't want to compromise your personal safety, but you're supposed to go into this forever relationship as a servant, not what you will be served as. And these are my demands and these are my conditions. It's for better or for worse, right?
I love that you said that.
Stuck with you
I
too,
could be
though,
stuck
so
with
it's,
worse.
you know.
You are easy
Yeah, there we
on the
go.
eyes
There we go.
and the spirit. So I love that you just quoted vows of for better or worse, for rich or for, hey, we're super broke, in sickness and in health. So I become a quadriplegic.
Yep.
And you're not very happy because you're serving all the time
Right.
and you're haggard with no end in sight for 20 years.
Yeah.
And no, you say, no, I'll love you anyway, even when I don't feel like it, even when you don't make me happy,
When you don't
even
deserve
when
it.
you don't deserve
Yeah.
it. And so the problem here is it throws back this unconditional covenant love. I'll love you even if I'm not getting everything I hoped I was signing up for back. It's not a contract, it's a covenant. And a lot of people go into marriage not knowing what marriage really is supposed to be. And then they get upset because they got a bum rap on it. But well, marriage wasn't about happiness in the first place. It was about holiness and growing. And, that's the gig. It's a covenant, not a contract. And
Becoming better together, right? We're certainly not the people we were when we first got married. Praise God. Right? We're better.
Well, that kind of segues pretty nicely, Becca, into question from Buzzfeed. Buzzfeed that says this is terrible relationship advice. Maybe you'll grow to like them. Buzzfeed continues, I refuse to waste any more time dating people just in case I might like them eventually. First impressions matter. Either we hit it off or we don't. End of story.
I get that. Yeah. If you don't have fun together and there's no chemistry right away, then I could see where it would be
Pride
harder.
Pride and Prejudice. Will we even have that movie?
What a great movie. Yes.
first impressions. But we didn't like each other for over a year. So our first impressions were totally wrong. Totally wrong. So, sometimes you are surprised if you stick around.
What was your first impression of John?
Should we say that on air?
Be gentle.
Be gentle.
Be gentle. Lie to him.
Yeah.
Preserve
tell
my
him-
dignity.
Tell him I was wearing a leather jacket and whatever else you want to say is fine.
We'll edit flattering things in
Edit
post.
flattering. Well, then you get to say yours of me too. Yeah,
No, go ahead.
I wasn't quite so sure. I thought maybe John was a little arrogant. But there's a whole background story you're all missing, right? So there's a whole background story. But tell them what you thought of me. It's not flattering either. So,
Why would I? I'm so arrogant and all.
yeah, which we both misread each other horribly.
We
so.
did. And when I really got to know you, I found that I really did grow to like you. And then I grew to love you.
Such a chore, huh?
Well, it's just at the heart of the opposite of this. If
Yeah.
we started out not liking each other at all, then
Right.
we went to liking each other, then we went to loving each other, and the whole process of marriage is growing to like and love each other more and more over time. Now, I get the point that they're making here of maybe you'll grow to like them, because I think marriage is hard enough that if you're really struggling to make it work, I guess, or you really don't have that spark in the beginning, and you're just not compatible and you really don't like them at all, it's harder to get to the next step of like, I'd like there to be spark and chemistry. And I think that's important to kind of set a relationship off, but it's really more of a modern thing for most of human history and many cultures, arranged marriages were a thing. And
Are you
actually,
advocating that now?
I am saying that we now we cohabitate, we get we pretend to be married for a few years, give someone else your best, and then check out, and you go from relationship to a relationship, doing a mini marriage without the actual
Right.
ceremony.
Yeah, I agree.
Until of like you've shattered your soul, becoming one so many different people. That's not good, and that's just destroying your future marriage, I think. And so. I don't like arranged marriages too much either,
Right.
but I'm just saying there's a lot of arranged marriages that work, and we have our way, which is clearly not working.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice if we weren't so arrogant and smug that we didn't think that we actually were doing this right. We're not doing this right, but I do think marriage, especially, you have that spark in the beginning and that passion, and that's great, and that's super fun. Within about 6 months, that's the waters will start to cool a little bit, and you're going to rejoin Earth. Maybe it goes a little hotter for you, and you go.
That's true, though. Yeah.
Your Romeo and Juliet phase lasts for a year and a half, 2 years. Eventually, you got to touch back down on Earth, and you got to start cultivating a friendship. The relationship is really built more on a friendship than you could possibly imagine. You've got to really like each other as best friends. And
Which I would advocate is eventually better than the fireball Romeo Juliet phase.
The spark, the fire, the passion, and romance, when not built on a robust friendship, it's too whimsical. It's like you're passionately in love, and then they do something to hurt you. Now you're passionately hate them, and you swing back and forth because it's too passionate to be steady. And so it's
and
the
we
friendship.
definitely went through that.
Yeah, we did.
For sure. Yeah. We have so much what not to do advice. It's so great.
Well, and it kind of touches back onto the previous point, the unconditional love.
Yeah.
And just, because that unconditional love is from both sides. It's not a one-way street. And so I think this is interesting advice just because we live in such a microwave, I want it now culture. And to your point, Becca, I mean, you might meet somebody and you're like, hey, we're not really into the same things.
Yeah.
But I mean, you guys are a case in point. After a while, you're like, well, wait, I kind of do like this person.
Yeah.
Hanging out in groups is good at first.
Yeah, we're a testament of, we are growing to like each other more, even when I was just frankly harder to love, you know? And so.
I've felt that about you.
So was I.
Yeah.
That's hurt.
There we go.
Okay, number 3.
Hey, let's all just beat up on me. You started
you,
it.
babe.
I want
You're
Becky
carrying it
here every
on.
week. This is
Ben,
great.
what? Is my face not good enough for you?
I just didn't know what
It's
to
the
do.
beard.
Go ahead, get it out of your system.
I told you
That's
to
great.
reveal your impression of me, but you skipped over, but that's fine.
That's because I love you.
Here we go.
Clearly, it's not reciprocated. I want out of this thing. Can we just be done?
Episode
with the
over.
show.
Training
and this
tip.
Sham.
Yeah. Scorpion woman.
Scorpion.
Always
Well,
hear that.
here's point number 3, and this segues right into it. The bad advice is that relationships are hard. I think that's actually pretty good advice because relationships take work. The comment is pretty long, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. They're talking about staying in a bad relationship for way too long. But what I hear from this advice is that, hey, if it's a good relationship, if you really love each other, then everything will be easy and roses. And I don't think that's the case.
No, BuzzFeed saying relationships are hard work is not good advice. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
No, relationships are hard work.
They are hard
and
work.
if you don't feel relationships are hard work, it means you stay for the honeymoon early part and then you bail as soon as it gets hard. And relationships are easy to you. Wait until you are all alone at 60 years old with no legacy and no one gathered around you, and tell me how life is there. You spent your best years just sampling a bunch of people rather than committing to someone forever and finding the beauty in that monogamy. And so, no, relationships are hard work. They're incredibly hard work. What do you have to say about that?
I have to say that, they're totally worth it. So it is hard because you're actually revealing your best and your worst to someone. And that's our human nature, is that we all have those, demons and monsters in the closet that the other person will eventually see. But eventually you do get better with those things too. You become better people for committing to each other and loving each other through your flaws.
This goes back to love unconditional because the problem is I can't hide from my wife.
Right.
Your spouse sees you at your absolute worst. She knows what man I really am. I can't hide from him. And so if her love is highly conditional, and she knows the worst of me, unless I'm just awesome person in secret and in public, I'm screwed. Her love better be unconditional because I actually need her to love me in spite of all my junk.
Yeah, I need that too.
And so, hey, thank you. Thank you. From this arrogant guy, you jerk.
Yeah, that's just the natural process of things. When we worked with our student program overseas, it was usually, 9 months? So, it was hard for the students. It's a long time away from home and all the changes they're going through. And sometimes you'd see students that would start out just like rockets and you'd be like, whoa, they're going to be superstars. But then they taper off and, just life sets in and you start to see that real person.
That's right.
And then it's hard. Like, okay, there's 30 students and us adults and we've got to come together as a family. And that was a really cool experience to see that play out in other ways too.
That's good.
Yeah, and for them.
While you were talking just now, I got real excited for everyone watching in because people are going to be helped by this.
I hope so.
Here. I've been helped by this, and I think our culture is just wrong. Our culture sucks at relationships. Our culture sucks at romance. It's good at passion. And you can see that in movies, the passion of it's all about the chase and the getting together, but you never actually see any happy ever after marriages.
I think about that all the time. There's no movies of, hey, these people have been married 20 years. Then the movie starts, it's all the fire, the passion at the beginning.
And when you find a couple that has been married a few years, they're kind of at each other's throats. They're making jokes at each other's expense.
Or they're just distant, apathetic, just a little, they don't care.
Can you guys think of any marriages portrayed in movies or more recent last 10-year TV shows where you have a married couple of say kind of our age, the marriage is well portrayed. It's not a new marriage. It's a little bit older, of 10, 15, 20, 25 years.
I mean, most of those relationships on TV and in movies, the husband's schlub kind of thing. The wife's a go-getter, and the it's all held together comically. But it's not just hey, this is a healthy relationship that somebody could look at and mirror.
Right.
Yeah.
One movie we saw recently was so surprising was the old Beethoven movie from the 90s.
Yeah.
That marriage was so great. The wife listened to the husband's counsel. He made decisions.
Yeah.
The family and the kids followed dad, and dad saved the day at the end.
Yeah,
I know that's
it
a
was
silly
refreshing.
kids movie, but we were like, whoa, it's a good marriage on TV, and it's 30 years old.
Yeah, well, they both had their
movie.
junk, but they were kind of like they were a team.
They were a team.
And now
you don't see that.
You don't. You see it adversarial, a little bitter and snide and picking at, and she wears the pants. But this was it was refreshing in that they look like a team. And I missed that. I don't see that ever.
Yeah.
And our culture sucks at romance. It sucks at marriage. It sucks at relationship. It's just good at passion, early passion. And that's just following what you want. That's just looking for sexual pleasure and thinking that if you have it burning hot early enough, that'll carry you to happily ever after. And no one checks in to find out, nope, it's a dismal failure. That didn't work at all.
Most of these movies and TV shows, basically, the first 10 minutes is the people shacking up, having sex, and then going afterwards going, do I like this person? What? You know, that's like, what? And that's how they start, and then the rest of the movie or show is about, well, I've given them everything. I don't know let's find out if I actually like them.
Poets don't settle. You need better muses than that.
All right.
Let's go to the next.
Yes, I got another question here. BuzzFeed says, this is absolutely terrible, terrible relationship advice. Don't you ever say this to anybody. Don't ever say, love conquers all. BuzzFeed continues, nope,
Okay.
nope, couldn't be more wrong. If you want to conquer all, you need more than love. You need respect, you need mutual trust, you need to be able to communicate.
I mean, all those things come out of love.
Yeah, they do.
Like love is the foundation, and those things come out of it. Yeah.
Redefining.
If you love someone, you will extend 1,000 other traits out of love for you. You know, so yeah, love is not respect. But if I love someone and respect is important to you, out of my love, I will try to give respect or whatever you need, whatever you want, whatever is good for you. Out of love, I desire to do that thing for you.
John, you're speaking about a big love. I think she's talking about a small love. You know, in a way, like you're talking about a big meta narrative love. You know, it's interesting as I hear you talk about that. Like the writer, whoever the anonymous comment was, they are talking about a small love in a way that is one of only a handful of things, but is not a thing.
I think there is common wisdom of like you could love each other real passionate, but you just suck at communication and
toddlers come.
Yeah, and so I can
That's
see
hard.
those variables. If she said no, love doesn't conquer all because you need like wisdom and stuff of like, I can go on with that. But at this point, I'm a little bit suspicious in BuzzFeed. It looks like they're just looking for any Judeo-Christian wisdom, and they're just saying the opposite.
Right, because I'm thinking of Jesus right now.
Yeah, well,
right?
hold on. Corinthians 13:7. I jotted this down. Love bears all things. Love believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things.
Dang.
Love endures all things. Corinthians 13:7. It's saying the opposite. It's saying love conquers all.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
What is the end of Song of Solomon? Many fires cannot quench love. Do you remember? Do you memorize
Place
that
me
verse?
as a seal upon your heart. Your seal is as strong as death, and many waters cannot quench. Is that what you said?
Yeah, and out of the end of Song of Solomon there, Solomon, wisest dude we know of, is talking about that love does conquer all. Right?
Yeah.
And Jesus say love covers a multitude of sins. Like screw up a bunch of stuff and accidentally fumbling around, unwisely do a bunch of stuff, but I really love you. You can forgive all kinds of stuff. You can look the other way on all kinds of my mistakes in knowing that, you're safe in, my true affection. So anyway.
Yeah.
Well, and here's our fifth piece of bad advice that we might think is good is the grass is not always greener. And, the precipice that they come from is, staying in a bad relationship. You don't know what else is out there. So yes, a bad relationship is not a healthy place for someone to be. But I feel like we live in a society where they're constantly saying, hey, always be looking out for what you want next.
Oh, for sure.
That's good.
Yeah, to hit the restart button. We've known people over the years that have said, well, I was in a relationship for 7 years and it's just not going anywhere. They're not married yet. And I'm thinking, whoa, well, that's probably a red flag. If there's no commitment there after 7 years, it's time to get married, But then we're also at the age where people are getting divorced now a lot, that got married young like we did or that have been married 10, 15, 20 years. And it's just really sad to see those go down when you just wonder, oh man, I wonder what could have saved it, like what could have been done differently, so that no one jumped ship. You hate to see that.
Yeah.
Wait, so what BuzzFeed is saying here is that the grass is always greener.
No, they're saying the grass is not always greener. So they're saying,
Yeah, so they're saying that the grass is always greener is what they would prefer to hear. But that's not true because no matter where you go, you've brought the same person you are into whatever trouble you're going to be going next.
Person. You see that with celebrities, right? You know, they go through 5 marriages and yeah.
BuzzFeed is saying sometimes the grass is greener. And so I'm agreeing with BuzzFeed here in that, hey, all right, you're dating someone, it looks toxic, you know, and you're just wanting to tough it out. I'm like, no, marriage is going to be hard enough. And so if your dating relationship is really, really hard, well, marriage isn't going to make it easier. And so I'd bail on that junk too. I'm going to look for greener grass. And so I'm actually more in line with BuzzFeed's conventional wisdom with an exception. You get in your marriage. So this is a sharp distinction because once you make the vow,
Yes.
you're stuck forever.
You're
So
there.
don't make the vow and you can, you know, keep jumping around, shopping around. But once you make the vow, once you commit, always, no matter what, baby, I'm gonna be with you, no matter what. And it's the most romantic thing ever, if people would actually stand by it. But they jump ship as soon as it gets hard. As soon as you get married, the grass is never greener anywhere else. There is no grass anywhere else.
There's no
You
grass.
are a tiny oasis now, you and your bride,
That's right.
around nothing but desert because there's no other options. There's no other grass. Don't you look at that grass. Did you just look at that grass?
Oh my gosh. There's something crazy called the 7-year itch, right? That's terrible. I think there's even a movie about it, but you know, like you were saying, our culture just encourages, let's trade out the old and with the new. Like you deserve this, you know?
Right. Yeah.
This is for you. This is better. And that's the toxic lifestyle.
So I'm kind of agreeing with BuzzFeed there until it gets put in a relationship.
Absolutely,
And then you're no longer shopping for greener grass. Now, understand love is not this oops, I falled in kind of thing. It's a verb and you choose to. Of like the Christian conception of love is so wildly great and far past the world. It says, love your enemies. I'm like, man, well, first off, that's extremely hard. I'm not there yet, but I still understand the call and the idea, and I'm going to work toward that. But of like, if you are able to love your enemies, that means it's not a feeling, it's a verb, it's a decision. And so, you know, we're at each other's throats. We don't feel like loving each other. Of like, no, love them anyway. And so what does love mean? It means making her a stupid cup of coffee. Well, she doesn't deserve it because she's actually not doing anything. She's not, no. Make her coffee anyway. And don't have the last word. Don't say that thing. Just walk away. Hope you have a good day. See you later. Try to do the hug. Love her on it. So it's like give her some space and then come back and pursue. Not because she deserves it, but because that's what love is.
That's right. And some of our friends lead a ministry over at fiercemarriage.com, and they encourage you to fight naked. So try that out too.
It's a metaphor and it's not. It's,
There you go.
I didn't see that in the BuzzFeed article. It feels like
It's not there.
yeah.
Go check it out. Ryan and Selena, y'all are awesome.
Yeah, Ryan, I asked him, like, so is that a metaphor? It's like, yeah, sure. But it doesn't have to be. I'm like, yeah, yes. My bro Ryan.
That's it.
So let's, we talked about this BuzzFeed thing, and we're kind of reacting to muddied waters. Let's make clear waters and just say, hey, you and I, we had an early passion. You know, you were real after me. I
Is
was
that
kind of
what it
like,
was?
whatever.
Yeah.
You were way into me, and I get it. You're hooked on a level. you know?
Yes.
Did you really
I
just do
think-
that?
Yes.
I did.
He's getting revenge.
Yeah, we're gonna have to roll the tapes back. I think
When-
Becca said some different things earlier. Like
So
we need
he
to
was
check that.
outside my window. I hear the bushes rattling. And I'm like, whoa.
I would never rattle the bushes. I'm far better at surveillance
true. He'd
than
be
that.
silent.
So
so you're
nobody,
the creepy guy standing out the window.
nobody's
There's
out there
that.
thinking John sucked so bad at rangering he got caught by a
Rattling the
no.
bushes.
I'm gonna perv on you way more
Wow.
more tactically
Way
than
more.
that.
Yikes. You'll
No,
see
so
what I deal
we
with.
had an early passion, and you know a short engagement. We got married very quickly, and for you guys, we were engaged 2 months. Got married quickly, and marriage was really awesome for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And then it got real hard
Yeah.
for 2 years.
Yeah, things got real. Yeah.
What did we do to really shift our way of thinking and acting that saved our marriage? Because we looked like we were meteoric rise and meteoric crash was the
Plummet.
trajectory.
Yeah.
It looked bad to me.
Well, you know what?
Looked
We're
bad.
out of time here on
Yeah.
the YouTube.
Yeah.
We have covered everything we can here on YouTube and on the podcast. So I say we take this over to Watch WPSN and finish this conversation there because I want to know what shifts you guys made
Yeah.
to save your marriage. So
All right.
thanks for joining us today on YouTube and the podcast. Please feel free to join us over at watchwpsn.com. Use code JLSHOW for a sweet discount. We'll see you over there. If not, we'll see you next week.
Car karaoke with Becca. Here she goes.
I'm just dying.
You're having a hard day? You having a hard day, buddy? Why don't you suck it up, Buttercup?
It was just different college kid.
Whoa.
Different college kid.
Sounds like a college man.
Well, I'd
He
almost,
was a college man.
Not a college kid.
So anyway.
Why are you looking at me like that?